Hello and good morning to all. In the subject Pedagogy of a School Subject History, we are going to study today the topic Educational Objectives. Objectives are a very important part of teaching learning process, as education is a process of bringing desirable changes, behavioral changes in the individuals. So it helps the individuals to identify the capabilities and their potential. So the learning objectives for today's class will be to be able to write instructional objectives in your own words. You will learn that. You will be able to classify the educational objectives on the basis of learning domains. And the students will be able to acquire the skills to identify the various levels of instructional objectives, and also it will provide a focus to the student teachers on the teaching and learning process. So they will try to bring more and more innovations in their teaching and learning process. So if we take a look at the background of educational objectives, in 1956, Benjamin Bloom, with his collaborators, Max Engelhardt, Edward First, Walter Hill, and David Crothwall, published a framework for categorizing educational goals, taxonomy of educational objectives. This framework has been applied by generations of teachers and college instructions in their teaching. So there was a committee of college and university examiners, the Chicago University, and they produced a taxonomy of educational objectives, and it was later on edited by Bloom. So that is why the classification is known as Bloom's taxonomy. So why the word taxonomy is used here? It originated from the Greek word taxis, which means arrangement, and nomos, which means science. So it is a science of arrangements. It means a set of classification principles or structure and domain. So domains in which the taxonomy is divided and classified is simply means category. So who was B.S. Bloom? Benjamin Samuel Bloom was a Jewish American educational psychologist. He was born in 1913 and he passed away in 1999. And he contributed a lot in the classification of educational objectives. And he also gave the concept of theory of mastery learning. And he was a professor in Chicago University. So he believed that classroom instructions and activities are the gateway of the educational objectives. And hence, a teacher who deals with any subject should clearly plan his objectives of a particular instruction. Predetermined learning outcome of an instruction can be called as instructional objectives. More clearly, instructional objectives are the specific or immediate goal which is obtainable as a result of instruction or through classroom interaction. So that can be achieved in a smaller amount of time. This is considered as the target of a teacher for a specific lesson or a topic. Learning teaching outcomes of a classroom is designed by the instructional objectives without fail. Formulating instructional objectives, instruction become aimless or targetless, as well as it leads to the wastage of time and effort, both of teachers and the students. Instructional objectives should be planned to develop different domains of the learner. So it is necessary to discuss and understand the different domains of the learner. So basically, Bloom's taxonomy is a classification system which is used to define and distinguish different levels of human cognition and understanding, thinking, learning, understanding. So what is the purpose of Bloom's taxonomy? Mainly, Bloom wanted to inform or guide the educators and help them so that they know how to develop the assessment for their students, whether it is in the form of test or evaluation of the student learning. How the curriculum can be planned in the form of units, lessons, projects, and organization of different learning activities. Instructional methods could be adopted by the teachers, such as question answer techniques or any other teaching strategies. So this all can be done on the basis of after formulating the instructional objectives for the lesson, for the teaching learning process, and then the teachers know that how to assess the knowledge of their learners. Later on, after 1956, in 2001, the taxonomy of Bloom was revised by Lauren Anderson. He was a former student of Bloom. And in 2001, they changed the nouns which were given as the categories of the taxonomy to the verb form. So Bloom basically worked on the cognitive part, and later on the affective part and psychomotor parts were later on developed by his associates. So educational objectives basically depict what students should be able to do at the end of a learning activity. As educational objectives are more focused on the learner's performance, so it is also known as learning objective. The original taxonomy of 1956 presented three domains of learning, which were cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. So this was basically in the form of hierarchy, and emphasis in 1956, the emphasis was given on the cognitive domain, and the hierarchy of cognitive process was developed for attaining of knowledge and development of thinking. Later, Krathwohl in 1964 introduced affective domain, and Simpson in 1966 developed the psychomotor domain. So they describe the hierarchical development of the three domains of the learner. These are the domains of the learning part through instruction. And the classification objective is known as Bloom's taxonomy of educational objectives. The cognitive part deals with the mental skills. The affective domain deals with the attitude or the growth in feelings or emotional areas. And the psychomotor part deals with manual or physical skills. So basically, we can divide like this. Cognitive means knowing, affective means feeling, and psychomotor means doing. So the cognitive domain contains 6 categories, from lower order thinking skills to higher order thinking skills. And the lowest one is the knowledge, and the highest most is the evaluation. So the categories are knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So the cognitive domain involves knowledge and the development of intellectual skills. This we have discussed. So basically it includes the recall and recognition of specific facts, procedural patterns, concepts that serve in the development of intellectual abilities and skills. So these 6 major categories start from the simplest to the most complex. So the first one is the level 1, the knowledge in the cognitive domain, which means the remembering of previous learned material. So Bloom has also subdivided the cognitive objectives of knowledge into 3 categories. That is the knowledge of specifics, knowledge of ways and means of dealing with specific, and the knowledge of universals and abstractions. So basically it is the acquisition of knowledge. It is the lowest level of cognitive domain. It includes the ability of students to recall and remember the information, whichever is learned in the classroom. Recall and recognition are the specification of this instructional objective. So basically the verbs, which can be action verbs, there are certain action verbs that has to be used while formulating the instructional objectives by the teachers. So the verbs, example for it can be, state any 4 steps in curriculum development. So it is based on knowledge only, because here we are directly asking the students to only state the 4 steps which are there in curriculum development. The next stage is, the next category is comprehension. It is the ability to grasp the meaning of material. So it is the second level of cognitive domain. It is the meaningful recall and recognition of the learned content. Here the learner could understand and explain what he has learned in the classroom in his own language. So now he will be able to understand the concept. He will be able to describe, depict everything after gaining the knowledge. So identifying of relations, classification of objectives, explanations, comparisons, translation, etc. are the specification of this level. For example, we can say student identifies the importance of good lesson plan during teaching learning process. So this can be done only by the student after he has attained the knowledge part. Then only he will be able to grasp the understanding of the teaching learning process. So basically comprehension also means understanding and whatever is being communicated to a learner. So although it is the lowest higher order thinking, but it is fundamental. It is very important for the understanding the process of teaching learning. And if whatever is communicated to the students, if it is not understood or received by the learner, so no further development can take place. So the lower order thinking skills are also very important in this part. So facts, ideas, processes, methods, principles, and theories should be communicated very well at this category. So interpretation is done by the students of the knowledge which has been given to them. It can be in the form of examples, explanation, any kind of difference, discrimination, classification, rearrangement, verification, generalizing of the facts. So it could be extended to other fields also. The next level is the application. So it is the ability to use learned material, whichever is learned by the students in new situation, applying it in new situation, in unknown situations. So it is the third level, and it is acquired and comprehended during the first 2 levels. So if they have understood the concept at the first 2 levels, then they will be able to apply their knowledge also. So it is a kind of ability we can see to apply the acquired knowledge through instruction in real life situations. So establishing new relationship, formulating hypothesis, predictions are some of the specifications of this level. So mainly the application part includes the general ideas, rules, procedures, general methods. So application helps in the development of the predictive ability of the learners. So whatever they have learned, they should learn to use it in real situations also. For example, we can formulate the objective. Students will be able to formulate diet plan for patients with diabetes if they have understood how the disease is caused, how the disease can be prevented, and how a diet plan can be formulated. So they will be able to apply this knowledge in real life also. Then the next level is analysis. So analysis is the meaningful breakdown material into its component parts, in various components, and to identify the interrelationship between the elements and find out how they are organized and related. Specification of this level includes the analysis of elements, analysis of relationship, analysis of organizational principles. So mainly it is the elements of the communication and the analysis of the implicit and explicit structures. So for example, we can say after attaining this category, after attaining this knowledge, the student will be able to distinguish between miscible and immiscible liquids. So he will be able to analyze what kind of liquids can be classified into miscible liquids and what kind of liquids can be classified into immiscible liquids. So this is the ability to break down the component parts. Then at the next level, that is synthesis. It combines various parts to form a new whole. Now, the various abilities which have been discovered earlier, breaking down of the materials into different components, now it has converted into a new whole. So, synthesis is the mental ability of the learners to integrate the acquired, comprehended, applied, and analyzed knowledge in a comprehensive whole. Now they can make a generalization also. So it involves the ability to give a new shape or structure to statements or the procedures. For example, the student will be able to derive a solution for the water wastage problem. Now they know how important water as a natural resource is, and after that they will be able to and after going through the whole content, they will be able to derive a solution for the water wastage problem. And the level 6 and the category, the highest category of cognitive part is the evaluation, which is the ability to judge the value of material for a given purpose. Judgments are based on definite criteria. So this is the highest level of cognitive domain, and students could evaluate any object, person, theory, or a principle. And it is only possible if he is par with all other lower hierarchy in the cognitive domain. So the lower part thinking skills are also very important on this part. And it is the ability to judge a value of a material, aspects, methods, principles, theory, philosophy, and so forth for a given purpose. At this level, he or she could perform personal viewpoint about the information he has synthesized. For example, we can here see the students will be able to compare and contrast any two definitions of education. So if they have understood what is education, what kind of definitions have been given by various philosophers or experts regarding education, now they will be able to evaluate what kind of comparison can be done in two definitions or among the most important parts of the definitions, and contrast the information, and they will be able to give the evaluation part or the conclusion part. Now, next, we will discuss about the affective domain, which is the feeling part. So skills in the affective domain describe the way people react emotionally and their ability to feel other living things, pain or joy. So affective objectives typically target the awareness and growth in attitudes, emotion and feelings. So this was given by Crothwell, as we have learned it earlier in 1964, after the cognitive part was given by B.S. Bloom. So there are 5 levels in the affective domain, moving through the lowest order processes to the highest. That is receiving, responding, valuing, organizing, and characterizing. So it is related with the development of heart and mind of the child. It includes the areas of emotions, feeling, interest, attitude, appreciation, and values. The teacher should be given should give emphasis to correlate the development of cognitive domain along with the affective domain. So only the cognitive part is not important. Affective domain is equally important. A person who studied the Gandhian principles, civic rights, and duties without developing his affective domain is worthless, because he will not be able to develop certain feelings of nationalism among him. He will not be able to feel the love for his country, and he will be worthless for the country as well as the society. So hence the teacher should ensure the development of affective domain in his instructional objectives of the classroom instruction. And as we have discussed, Bloom and Krathwohl introduced the hierarchy for affective domain. So the first level is receiving. It is the basic level. It is being sensitive to something existing and progress from awareness to controlled or selected attention. So if she or he is willing to receive information wholeheartedly by exhibiting awareness on the stimuli and become conscious on particular person, principle, philosophy, incidents, etc. So, for example, students will interestingly listen to Gandhian principles. So, this is the part of receiving. Then we move on to next level, that is responding. So, it is concerned with active response of the learner. After receiving the knowledge, how the student is responding. So, effective reception prepares the learner to respond seriously. As a result of receiving some good message from the first hierarchy level, the learner tries to respond to the situation positively. For example, students show kindness towards elders and weaker people. They try to maintain their honest behavior in day-to-day life situations, etc. So how they are responding with their emotions. The next level is 3, that is valuing. Valuing means indicate acceptance and internalization of the values or attitudes. So by responding in good ways, the students set guidelines for their behavior, how they are going to behave, or what kind of changes they are going to bring among themselves. So accepting values, preference for values, commitment to values are the important behavioral changes in this level. For example, we can say students develop positive attitudes towards non-violent behavior, truthfulness, and honesty. So after reading the Gandhian principles, they may develop positive attitude towards this. So it initiates, for example, we can also say that students will be able to initiate the building of interpersonal relationship with other students. So after receiving the sensitive issue, the sensitive attention, they respond, they give their response, and then they internalize the values or bring changes in their attitude. The next level is the organization. So here, the whatever knowledge has been given to the students, they will encounter situations in which more than one value is relevant. So they will be able to organize or apply, we can say, the knowledge which they have gained. So student builds a system of value at this level. Value conflict and value crisis process are solved here. Through organizing different values, students are able to develop their own code of conduct and standard of public life in the society. For example, pupil identifies the inseparability of values like non-violence, truthfulness, honesty, tolerance in Indian tradition. So they show dislike towards corruption and violence in the country and think against. So like this, they are able to organize what is correct and what can be adopted in their behavior, what can show their emotions. So another example can be that students will be able to combine various interaction skills to nurture interpersonal relationship with students. So whatever they value, they will go with that. And whatever they think they dislike, they will move against from that. Level 5 is characterization, and it is the highest level of affective domain. So students now internalize value system, which is the philosophy of life. Values are imbibed and forms part of our lifestyle. For example, the non-violence value becomes the philosophy of the individual, philosophy of his life. They will not be ready to compromise on this philosophy of their life at any stage, and will ever be ready to work for this at every for the justice, and though they are alone in their way. So this will bring the characterization of the student, how they will bring the permanent changes in their behavior, and the behavioral changes can be seen in the student. So after this, we move on to the next domain, that is the psychomotor domain, which is skill based. So psychomotor domain deals with the action or performance. So it describes the ability to physically manipulate a tool or instrument like a hand or a hammer. So it usually focuses on change or development in behavior or skills. Bloom and his colleagues never created subcategories for skills in the psychomotor domain. So it was developed by Simpson, 1966, and it is presented as follows. So the level 1 is in psychomotor domain is perception. It is the first level. It consists the process of becoming aware of objects, qualities, or relation through sense organs, concerned with perception of sensory cues that guide actions. So, for example, we can see students will be able to detect the early signs of negative attitude. Next level is set. It is concerned with the cognitive, affective, psychomotor readiness to act. After the perception is built in the student, now he will be set to make preparatory adjustment of readiness for a particular kind of action or experience. Mental as well as physical set for action is performed here. So they can react promptly to the personal problems of the students. So how after changing their perception, they can do that. The next level is guided response. It refers to early stages of skill acquisition. It follows the demonstration of teacher. So it is the overt behavior act of a student under the guidance of the teacher. And students initially perform an act which is perceived and set through earlier levels. Whatever he has learned in level 1 and level 2 now will be guided response given by the student under the guidance of teacher. It includes it can include imitation of teachers, elders, parents, whatever they see, how they behave, and trial and error activities in attaining writing skills, reading skills, listening skills. So, for example, we can say student imitates writing skill, writing style of his teacher to write letter, or repeat many times to learn how to write letter. Or we can say the students will be able to prepare lesson plan correctly as demonstrated by the teacher. So for example, we see that micro teaching is taught to the trainees, and the trainees then prepare after the demonstration given by the student teachers, they prepare lesson plans and then they imitate and demonstrate the lesson plans. At the level 4, that is mechanism. So in this level, the student shows performance, which has now become his habit. So through imitation and trial and error, student learned how to write the letter by imitating his teacher. And through trial and error activity, now she or he can write the letter or application. So here learned response have become habitual. It is a micro-analysis in which each step in the mechanism is properly examined and drilled. So now this mechanism, the systematic procedure has to be followed by the student at this stage. Whatever he has learned, now it will become a habit of his behavior. The next level is complex overt response, which means skilled performance, and it involves economy of effort, smoothness of action, accuracy, and efficiency. So it is motor act, which requires a complex movement pattern, whatever has been taught to them. It is a hierarchy. Students attain a higher degree of skill into the act, and it can be carried out smoothly and efficiently. So the students at the stage could perform the act without any hesitation. Now they have attained accuracy in it and they are performing it efficiently. So fine muscular coordination and great deal of ease is performing act are the peculiarity of this level. Here student will be able to write many words after learning how to write letters easily, will be able to improve his vocabulary and simply within a short period of time. He will learn ability to run, walk, jump, and take easily and talk easily. Sorry, and also so all of this comes under this category. So this will be the complex response which the student will give at this stage. The next level is adaptation and originating. So at this level, skills are internalized that students can adapt them to cater for special circumstances. So these are the highest level, and here students are adapted with the ability of doing an act which is acquired through above steps. Now, spontaneously, the student can perform the act with accuracy. Moreover, she or he will be able to originate a new pattern of action or style in doing the activity. So origination is the highest level, and it concerns the origination of new movement pattern by the student. However, Dave in 1969 also gave some categories of psychomotor domain, and he was from NCERT. He contributed to the taxonomy for psychomotor domain. We have discussed this, that Bloom's taxonomy was revised in 2001, and it was done by Lauren Anderson. He was a former student of Bloom, and David Krathwohl revisited the cognitive domain and made some changes. So what kind of changes were made by them? They made these changes. They changed the names in the 6 categories from noun to verbs forms. They created a processes and levels of knowledge matrix, and they rearranged them. Here we can see this is the original Bloom's taxonomy, and this is the revised Bloom taxonomy. It was in the form of nouns. The categories was in the form of nouns, and in this the categories were divided in the form of verbs. So this is how the main changes were done at the highest order thinking skills, where the evaluation was changed with creating, and evaluation was now given the second most important position in revised taxonomy, and the synthesis word which lead to creating of the new knowledge for presenting the knowledge as a whole was given new importance in revised taxonomy, that leads to creating. So what are the implications of Bloom's taxonomy in our teaching learning process? It serves as the backbone of many teaching philosophies, in particular those that lean more towards skills rather than content. What help can it give? It can help in, it can be used as a teaching tool to help balance assessment part, evaluation questions. They are also based on our taxonomy. In class, assignments, giving assignments, text, to ensure all orders of thinking are exercised in student learning, including aspects of information searching. So this is how we can see that after discussing the instructional objectives, what kind of instructional objectives should be taken care of while writing in the lesson plans. The teacher should take care of all the aspects, all the domains which the learners learn in their classes. So mainly the learners, they should know what are the needs of the learners. So they should be, that the needs should be specified. What kind of performance do they want from their learners? What kind of performance can be given by the learners? So the teachers can illustrate the learners' performance in classroom interaction. So students will be able to understand, apply, identify, justify. These kind of action verbs should be used by the teachers while writing the instructional objectives. They should also take care of the content and the condition, what kind of content they are going to deliver. So they should clearly mention the content of the study while writing the instructional objectives. So they can be instructional objectives are the specific and the immediate outcome as a result of an instruction. So it could be designed in such a manner that it shows the student should be able to recall or to perform after the completion of the classroom. So this is how, with practice, the teacher trainees can prepare a good lesson plan and formulate good instructional objectives. For this, I have given references here. You can go through various references. You will find out that there are various universities at the international level also, which gives the importance to Bloom's taxonomy and writing of instructional objectives in a good way by using certain specific action verbs, so that we can measure and assess the knowledge of our learners or the students. Now, at the end, we will deal with the evaluation questions. So the first one is, Bloom's taxonomy was developed to understand concepts. Next option is identify the measurable student outcome, give examples, or resolve difficult problems. So the question is, why was Bloom's taxonomy was developed? So this we have discussed in detail, that how Bloom's taxonomy has helped teachers all over the world, all over the educators who are helped by this taxonomy. So we can say that the correct answer is identify the measurable student outcome. So mainly it is not important to understand concept, give examples, or to resolve difficult problems, but there was no way earlier that how to measure whatever has been taught to the student has been learned, to which extent the student has learned. So to identify that, Bloom's taxonomy was developed. The next question is the number of domains in Bloom's taxonomy are. So how many domains have been given in Bloom's taxonomy? And that we have discussed, there are 3 domains. That is cognitive, affective, and the psychomotor domain. So all these 3 domains are based on the ability of learning of the learners. Then the next question is, attitudes, values, and interest are reflected by. So what do we see here? That these 3 things which we have discussed, the attitude, values, and interest, what does they reflect? What kind of domain does they reflect? Whether it is cognitive domain, affective domain, or psychomotor domain, or none of the above. So here we can see that the changes in emotions, the attitudes, bringing out values, internalization of values, development of interest, that all comes under the feeling domain, that is the affective domain. Next question is, the focus of cognitive domain is skills, intellectual skills, attitudes and interest, or whether concentration. So the main focus of cognitive domain, it is knowledge based. So the main focus is, the correct answer is the intellectual skills, the knowledge skill. Next question is, to use the previous learned material in new situation is, whenever a student is able to use the already acquired knowledge in new situations or unforeseen situations, so that will be known as comprehension, application, knowledge, or analysis. So here we can see that application is the correct answer, because after gaining through the knowledge and the comprehension levels, the student will be able to apply the knowledge which he has learned in the new situations or in the unforeseen situations. So whatever he has learned, he will be able to apply that also. So that will be useful for him in future life. Question is, identify the objectives related to affective domain. So here are some statements given in which you have to identify whichever is the objective related to affective domain. The first option is, students will be able to paint a picture. Students will be able to draw a graph. Students will be able to value the honesty. Student will be able to recall old concepts. So the correct answer is, student will be able to value the honesty. So how is it correct? As the painting a picture, drawing a graph, this all belongs to the psychomotor skill or the skill-based aspect. And the students will be able to recall old concepts. This option shows only the knowledge part. So wherever we have to show the values, the internalization of values, bringing changes in the behavior, that is affective domain, the feeling domain. So the emotion of honesty will be valued by the student is the correct answer. Next question is, psychomotor domain was classified by Simpson in year 1962, 82, 72, or 94. So here the correct answer is 1972. As earlier, originally in Bloom's taxonomy, Bloom was able to give only the psychomotor domain, and later on his associates and counterparts gave the next domains, that is affective and the psychomotor domain. So psychomotor domain was later classified by Simpson in 1972. Next question is the correct order of Bloom's taxonomy that describe the cognitive processes of learning is. So here we can see a set of cognitive processes in the order from lower to higher level. So after reading the options, we can find out the right answer, and that is knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So the correct answer is option A. So the lowest order is the knowledge part in cognitive domain, and the highest order is the evaluation. Next question is describe the events of First Battle of Panipat. This question has been given, and you have to identify the question is based on which objective. So which objective is covered by this kind of question, whether it is knowledge, application, understanding, or analysis. So here we can see that this objective is covered as understanding, because after going through knowledge, the students will be able to write in detail about the events, will be able to describe, will be able to explain, compare, distinguish, differentiate. So all these parts come under all these action verbs come under the understanding part. The last question is Bloom's taxonomy was reviewed and revised by Dash in 2001. So as we all have discussed this earlier, that Bloom gave his taxonomy in 1956 originally, and later on, as per the need and the 21st century skills, associates revised and reviewed the taxonomy, and on the basis of the verbs, they bring the changes in the taxonomy, and it was done by the options are Anderson and Krathwohl, whether it is Harrow, Walter and Hill, Biggs and Collis. So the correct answer is Anderson and Krathwohl. So with this, we have come to the end of the lesson today. Thank you very much.